Okay, guys, welcome to Independent Practice. So today we're going to start on page 24 in your book. So go ahead and get your book out and be ready to take notes. And we're going to do, looks like 6 problems. Then you will not have homework tonight other than to study for your test. And your test will be tomorrow when I get back. All right, so our first problem, we have a submarine that's 50 meters below sea level. It goes up 15 meters, then goes down 40 meters. What's the submarine's new position relative to sea level? And remember that we said when we're doing something relative to something, that means we're setting the 0 level. So in this case, we have a submarine, right? We have sea level right here, and we have a submarine that is in the water, right? And that submarine is at 50 meters below sea level. Now, below sea level means that compared to the water, the submarine, the water is going to be at 0 level. Our submarine is going to be right down here at negative 50. All right? Then it says the submarine goes up 15 meters. So the submarine is now going to go from here, going to go in this direction, plus 15. Right? And then it says it goes down 40 meters, and that way, that means from this point, it goes down 40 meters, right? So that's negative 40. So this is what it would look like on a number line, 0, negative 50 is where it starts, up 15, down 40. If we want to write that as an equation, we start with where they told us. They said it started negative 50, right? Then we go plus 15, and then plus a negative 40. Remember, addition is easier than subtracting. In this case, we have 50 and 40, which are both negative, so we can add them together. We had negative 90 plus 15. We know then that because this negative 90 has a higher absolute value than the plus 15, our answer is going to be negative. Then we simply subtract these two numbers. 90 minus 15 is 75. So our submarine, in reference to 0, is at negative 75 meters. All right? So that's the simplest way to do this kind of problem. Actually, just write it down as they say it. Draw a picture so you have an idea of what it's going to look like. You know the water's up here at 0 because it says relative to sea level, which means sea level is our new 0 level. All right, so let's take a look at problem number 2. Problem number 2, again, we're going to be talking about temperatures and wind chill temperatures in 4 different towns. The wind chill temperature just means when the wind's blowing, it feels colder. All right, so in this case, let's arrow this up a little bit. All right. So we have these 4 towns. We have Easton, Meriton, Pine Hills, and West Falls. The actual temperature in Easton is negative 3. The wind chill temperature is negative 13. In Meriton, the actual temperature is 0. Wind chill temperature is negative 15. In Pine Hills, the actual temperature is 10, and the temperature with wind chill is negative 10. And then West Falls is 2 degrees, and the wind chill temperature is negative 10. Now, if you think about a thermometer like a number line, how do you find the difference between 2 numbers on a number line? Well, we subtract. We take the absolute value of the difference. So what we're going to do for Easton, let's write it up here, Easton, right? And then we have Meriton, then Pine Hills, and then West Falls. All right? So the actual temperature of Easton is minus 10. So we're going to the absolute value of minus 3 minus this difference of negative 13, and we're going to take the absolute value of that. All right? So this becomes negative 3 plus 13, which is going to give us a difference of an absolute value of 10, which is going to be 10. All right. So we do the same thing with maritime. We have 0, absolute value of 0, minus a negative 15, right? Which gives us the absolute value of plus 15, which is going to be equal to 15. All right. So far, maritime has the biggest difference. Then we look at Pine Hills. It's 10 degrees minus a difference of negative 10, right? And that's the absolute value of that. We get the absolute value of 10 plus 10, which is the absolute value of 20. So this one's going to be equal to 20, right? And then West Falls is 2 degrees. Right, so West Falls is 2 degrees minus the negative 17, right? Which becomes 2 plus 17, right? And the absolute value of that is going to be absolute value of 19, so it's equal to 19. Because remember, absolute value is always positive. In this case, that means that Pine Hills has the largest difference. That's question answer C. Pine Hills has the largest difference because it's 20 right here. Right? Everybody follow how to do that? Again, just like any other number line, it's a thermometer. Like any other number line, to find the distance between two spaces on a number line, we take the absolute value of the difference. Difference means subtract. All right. Now we have this right here. We're looking at these equations, and we're going to do true or false for each one. All right. So let's take a look. Let's just do A first. All right. So we're doing true or false. A says negative 7 minus 5 plus 3 is equal to 1. So negative 7 minus 5 plus 3 is equal to 1. Okay, so we can do it mathematically or we can do it on a number line. I think sometimes the number line is easy. Let's see if we can do one real quick. We get 0, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. All right, and actually let's take this one out just a little further because I think we're going to need it. All right, if I start at this number here, that's at negative 5, and I subtract 5 positive, I'm going in this direction, right, and this is 5, right? I'm subtracting a positive 5. I end up right here at negative 12, and I go plus 3 from there. That's this direction, and up right here, plus 3, right there is at negative 9. So is that equal to negative 1? The answer would be false. So A is false. All right? And we're going to do the same thing on this next one. So let's look close at this one. We have negative 9. Let's go ahead and write it up here so you can see what we're going to do. We're going to take that off. We have negative 9, the opposite of 9 plus 11, right, plus 1. And it says equal to negative 1. All right. So when we use PEMDAS, we have to do what's inside the parentheses first. So that means the opposite of 20 plus 1 is equal to negative 1. Well, the opposite of 20 is negative 20 plus 1 is equal to negative 19. So we don't even need the number line for that because once we saw we had negative 20, we're only adding 1. We know it's not going to be equal to 1. So B, that's false also. Okay? Now let's take a look at the next one. A little bit different, but you're gonna see something when we write this down. Right? We have 24 minus a negative 6, right? Minus 6 again. Minus 6 again. And it says it's equal to 24. So watch what happens when I do keep, change. Because I can do that with more than one, right? So if I keep this one as 24, this becomes a plus. That becomes 6. and this becomes a plus and a negative 6. And then equals 24. Look close right here. I have 6 plus negative 6. Those are opposites, which means there's going to be 0. So we have 24 plus 0 equals 24, or 24 equals 24, which means that C is true. Everybody follow how to do that? Right? C is going to be true because we have these two opposites, and they make 0, and 24 plus 0 is 24. All right. All right. On D, we have 12 plus a negative 8, 12 plus a negative 8, and then minus 1, and that's equal to 3 according to our book. Let's see how that works. If I do 12 plus a negative 8 minus 1, right? Let's go over here. Let's go here. I start at 12 and I go plus a negative 8. I'm going in this direction, right? And I'm going right to here, right? Which gives me, at this point, 4. Then I need to go one more, take away one more positive. That means I go from here to here. And that gives me, actually, let's make that a positive, right? That taking away that positive leaves me at this point right here, which is 3. Right, so this one is D and it's true. All right, because another way to do this is 12 plus negative 9, which is also equal to 3. All right. This last one you have to be careful on E. E is using absolute value, but we have a negative sign, and that negative sign is outside the absolute value symbol. So we have negative, and then we have 2 minus 7, and then we have plus 5 equals 0. Now we know that in here I have this sign. When you read it like this, when it's outside the symbol, don't read it as negative, read it as the opposite of. So we have the opposite of the absolute value. If I keep, change, I get 2 plus a negative 7, which is going to be negative 5, plus 5 equals 0. This becomes the opposite of the absolute value of negative 5 is equal plus 5 equals 0. The opposite of this is 5 plus 5. And these are opposites because the absolute value of this is 5, but I'm taking the opposite. So the opposite of plus 5 is negative 5, and negative 5 plus 5 is equal to 0. So E is true. Those are the ones that are really tricky when you have an absolute value symbol and then you have the symbol outside the symbol itself, the opposite of. So everybody should see how to do that. And again, I know I'm going quick, but you can always stop this video and restart it. Anytime you need to stop it, you can run it back and do what you got to do. Because we only have so many minutes on YouTube. All right. The next question. This is independent practice, right? It says, which situation could the numeric expression negative 8 plus 10 represent? Select all, apply. So I need something to say negative 8 plus 10. All right, so an atom has a positive charge because it contains 8 electrons that each have a charge of negative 1 and 10 protons that have a charge of plus 1. All right, so if I write that, the electrons have a charge of negative 1. So if I have that, 8 times negative 1 is negative 8. And I have 10 protons that have a charge of 1. 10 times 1 is 10. So negative 8 plus 10, right, which is what we're looking for. So that means A, we would circle. Right? A gets a big circle. Right? Janice sold 8 goldfish for $10. Therefore, she made a profit of 2. First off, you can't have -8 goldfish, right? That's a positive number, so B is automatically gone. At a bus stop, 8 people got off the bus and 10 people got on. This means the number of passengers increased by 2. And that is true because if 8 people got off, that's a negative number. Doesn't matter how many we started with, 8 people got off, right? So that's a -8. And then 10 people got on, that's plus 10, right? So again, and that does equal 2. So B, we didn't circle. C, we circle. And then D, the temperature dropped -8. It dropped 8 degrees and then another 10 degrees, right? The temperature is now -18. Well, that is a true statement, but it does not apply to this. It's actually -8 minus a positive 10, which is -8 plus a -10. That's not what we wanted. We wanted -8 plus 10. We got plus -10. So D again does not work. All right. Our next problem is talking about golf, and we talked a little bit about golf today because I told you I got lucky over the weekend and made a good shot. All right. So in golf, each hole has a score called par, which is the number of strokes a good golfer should take to get the ball in the hole. Scores that are under par are represented by a negative number, and scores that are above par they're represented by a negative number. And this table shows the golf scores for team members in a golf tournament. If the team's total score is -32, what is current score? All right. So we can write this down. We can go -9 plus -15. All right. We can have those in there, but we need to know what current score is, right? So some value is going to give us a -32, right? So how can we find that? We need to find what this is, right? And then plus this number here is going to give us a -32, right? So the best way to do this is to get what these two are. -9 plus -15, that should be a -24, right? Plus x is equal to -32. So then we're going to take 24 and add it to both sides so we can get the x by itself, right? And we get that x is going to be equal to 8, right? So it's going to be a -8 because the 32 is a higher absolute value than 24, so x is equal to -8, and that's our answer. Kieran shot a -8. And then our last question, Austin is watching a football game. His team loses 9 yards and gains 5 yards, right? He doesn't watch the next play, but afterward he sees that his team now has a total loss of 1 yard. How many yards did the team gain or lose on the play Austin missed? Well, one way to do that is to do a number line, right? So we could do a number line. If we do this number line, we put 0 here. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, -5, -10, right? Over here we go 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. All right, so his team lost 9 yards, so that goes here, right? And we start right here at -9. And then they gain 5 yards, so if we go 5 from there, we end up right here, right? And this is +5. And then it tells us that he got to this point right here, right? So how far is that? Well, on a number line, it's easy to see, but we could actually add that together. We could find it because we can say the absolute value, right? They told us where he's at. They only lost 1 yard, right? Here it says he had a total loss of 1 yard. So we can do the absolute value of 1 minus that -4, right? which becomes, oh, that's a negative 1, by the way. Negative 1 minus negative 4, which gives us negative 1 plus 4, which is negative 3. Absolute value of that is equal to 3. So on this one, they gained 3 yards. All right? And that's all you have to do to solve that. All right, so what you want to do is now go and look at your self-check. That's on the page 1, and see if you can answer all those questions. You do not have homework other than study for your quiz, because you have a quiz when I get back tomorrow. All right, thank you for your attention.